Hi friends, I'm Dave Barklow, pastor at Fort Walton Beach First United Methodist. Welcome to the Pastor Study, our daily devotional to help us focus our mind on the things of God. We are in the last week of Jesus' life here in the Gospel of Mark, and it's a great time because we have this week, and the next week is Holy Week. So I'll be honest, I haven't exactly timed it out perfectly, but I think we're going to see some parallels getting us towards Holy Week, helping us think about what's happening during Holy Week, and then of course celebrating Easter together. So I look forward to walking through these last verses of the Gospel of Matthew with you. We are at Mark chapter 14, verses 12 through 21. This is where Jesus celebrates the Passover with his disciples. On the first day of unleavened bread, when the Passover lamb is sacrificed, his disciples said to him, "Where do you want us to go and make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" So he sent two of his disciples, saying to them, "Go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him, and wherever he enters, say to the owner of the house, 'The teacher asked, where is my guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will show you a large room upstairs, furnished and ready. Make preparations for us there." So the disciples set out and went into the city and found everything as he had told them, and they prepared the Passover meal. When it was evening, he came with the 12. And when they had taken their place and were eating, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me, one who is eating with me." They began to be distressed, saying to one another, "Surely not I." Then he said to them, "It is one of the 12, one of who is dipping bread into bowl with me. For the Son of Man goes as it is written of him. But woe to that one by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for him, that one, that he had not been born." So there's a couple of things going on here that I think are really important. One is we see that Jesus is following the command from the Old Testament to celebrate this meal. The central story of the Old Testament is not the creation story or the story of King David. It is the story of the Exodus. That is what forms the Israelite identity through and through. And they are told to remember the Passover, the night that they were freed from Egypt, by eating this meal. It was a ritualized meal, similar to what we might consider the Seder meal. The Seder meal that our Jewish brothers and sisters practice actually did not come into being until after the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD. And when they could no longer sacrifice the Passover lamb at the temple, they came up with what we know as the Seder meal today. So there's some similar things going on here in the meal Jesus is having, but Jesus did not do the Seder meal. It had not been created by the rabbis yet. But there were some similar things. There was probably a lamb to eat and that kind of thing. And there was a ritual to it. It says in one gospel that they sang a psalm, for instance. But it was a time to remember what God had done for the people. And so Jesus gathers with his disciples. What's interesting is you hear it's a large room, and Jesus does this miraculously, right? Go follow the guy with the water. It's just to show us that Jesus knows what's going on. Even in this last week, even when it seems like things are getting away from his control as he's arrested and tried, that actually no, Jesus knows what's up. He knows what's happening here, and he chooses it deliberately. They follow this man to a large room. We often think of Jesus having the Last Supper with the 12 disciples, when in reality he probably had the Last Supper with a lot more of his disciples. We know he had the inner 12, then he had 72 other followers. We know there was a group of women who followed him. He probably had the Passover with all of them, and that's why a large room was needed. It's also why when we get to Acts, you hear that 120 were gathered in the upper room. So obviously it was a large room, because it says several places that it's the same room, or at least traditionally hold that it's the same upper room as Jesus takes the Passover in. So Jesus is there with probably lots more than just the 12 disciples. And then he says this, that someone would betray him. And what I find remarkable about this is everyone doesn't just look at Judas, right? Like it is confounding them all. They're surely not I. It's not like they go, "Oh yeah, we know who this is." It's not obvious. And I think they do the right thing here and go, "It's not me, is it? Surely not me." So they take Jesus' word for self-reflection. They realize that they are not above failure. that they realize that they are not perfect. The only perfect one is the one who is hosting the meal there with them. So friends, let's remember the same. We're not perfect, though we do have a perfect host. And let's be willing to have self-reflection. And let's also be willing to count on Jesus. He knows what's going on, so let's put our trust in Him. Remember, friends, I love you. Take care of yourselves and shine the light of Christ.